Good morning everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the 7-star rarity weapons. We're going to start with the Kaiser weapons, of course, and then we're slowly going to work our way towards possible future weapons, because I think everyone is too tunnel visioned on the current available weapons and freaking out over the requirements or the amount of things that we need to farm for them. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. Alright, so the very first thing I want to point out over here is a screenshot from the JP server. Thank you for Uber for sharing this. But as you can see here, when you exchange your plus 50 Rokz weapon, even if it is fully augmented and exchange it into the Kaiser series, you're going to notice that your augments do not carry over. And this includes fixes as well. So this is a really big deal. Now, of course, it's only been 1 day since this has been released, so this could be a bug. This may change later down the line, but at the moment, a lot of people are freaking out over this because this means that the Kaiser series will not be able to get a fixer. Future Care over here with a small update, well, kind of big actually, and that is that Sega themselves have made an official announcement over here on specifications when exchanging the Kaiser series. And they stated over here that the abilities that do not carry over when exchanging for the Kaiser series, they have made it clear that enhancement levels, augments, potentials, preset skills, multi-weapons, and color variants will not carry over. So basically your Rokz series, when you change them into Kaiser series, none of these things will carry over. So you better just keep your fixer Rokz weapons and don't use them as fodder when exchanging them into the Kaiser series, because, well, none of them are going to carry over, so that really sucks. The next thing I want to share is the drop table for the Rokz weapon. There have been a lot of people wondering, where do the Rokz weapons drop? And here is the drop table of all the different target enemies as well as the urgent quests which drop your specific weapon. So for example, if you are going for the katana like myself, you want to do the AMS urgent quest as well as hunt down pangolins in particular. I believe these are the armadillo looking type of enemies, so or the shrimp, depending on who you are. I think GM Custom calls them shrimps, but yeah, you basically want to hunt this enemy down, and these are the enemies that drop the katana. A TLDR, if you are hunting down this enemy, just go to Lost Central. There's a bunch of them in Lost Central, because I personally have seen the katana, the knuckles, the rod, as well as the wand drop all in Lost Central. So if you are hunting these specific weapons, you might as well just go to Lost Central and just farm your brains out. And of course, whenever these urgent quests do come up, you just want to run them, okay? But with all of that out of the way, I just want to remind everyone that using a 6-star rarity weapon is perfectly fine. As you can see here, I'm actually not using an Evil Eclipse weapon. I'm actually using the Chattel weapons because I managed to get a Fixa Fatale level 3 as I was farming for those freaking equalizing enemies. I did spend 3.5 hours farming in Lost Central, and I got very lucky, and I managed to snag this weapon from a drop, which made me think, hey, I should probably use this weapon. Because I spend so much time in combat zones, it actually makes a lot of sense to get this 22% potency plus the 6% potency against enemies, because that adds up to 28% potency against regular enemies that are not bosses. And on top of that, this weapon actually has 4 more attack power than the Evil Eclipse, so it's a little bit of an upgrade over there. And of course, the potentials for the Evil Eclipse is also 22% potency versus the Chattel, which is also 22%. So it's actually a very small slight upgrade. However, it is a big upgrade for me as I am killing a lot of trash mobs in combat zones, and this is why I decided to go with the Chattel katana. And you know, it's a Fixa Fatale 3, which actually gives me 10% crit rate, which is really nice. So this brings me on to the new 7-star weapons. So we currently have the Rugged Katana, which is an RNG drop, you know, super duper rare. This is basically our relic. However, we now have the Kaiser Katanas, which are craftable versions. So a lot of people are super focused on the Kaiser weapons because people are like, yo, we're gonna get our Rokz weapon, we're gonna farm for all those bajillion materials, we're gonna combine them together and get our Kaiser weapon, and we're good to go. However, don't forget there is the Dark Falls Urgent Quest, the rank 2 version, coming next week, which means there are still plenty of opportunities for them to introduce a new set of gear, as well as maybe even a new way to farm Blizzardium. For example, when we do the higher versions of Urgent Quest right now, we do get Photon Scales. Remember how rare Photon Scales were before? It was a pain in the butt. I would not be surprised if Blizzardium suddenly became a normal thing that drops from Dark Falls rank 2, as well as the rank 2 versions of the Kavaris urgent quest. So, you know, don't jump the gun yet and don't go full panic mode on, hey, I can't get any Blizzardium, oh my god, this sucks, da-di-da-di-da. You know, don't freak out yet. There's still a little bit of time for Sega to amend things. Maybe they have all of this planned in the pipeline already, so I would not panic too bad right now. I would just stick to my guns and play the game how you normally play, and if you manage to get all the materials, good for you. If you don't, it's not a big deal, because you're still able to complete all of the content available in the game with your Evil Eclipse weapons or your Chattel weapons or even your Rokz weapons, so it's not the end of the world. You don't need to rush into your Rugged series or your Kaiser series as fast as humanly possible. However, again, if that is something that you do want to do, you know, that is how you have fun, then by all means go ahead. But I just want to remind most of the casual players, it's okay. You don't need a 7-star rarity weapon right now. Sure, it might take several weeks to slowly work towards it, and I would recommend people to slowly work towards it, but you don't need it now. You don't need to spend $120 buying all of these different packs in order to get your Blizzardium, in order to get your 7-star rarity weapon, because the only thing a 7-star rarity weapon is going to help you right now is to hold aggro and gain aggro against Ancients, which are probably you don't want, and you'll probably get yourself killed most likely, and maybe farm a little bit faster since you deal a little bit more damage. That's pretty much it. But this brings me to my third point of speculation. Since the Rokz weapons can be upgraded into the Kaiser series, I'm on a little bit of hopium that the Chattel series will also get an upgrade path where we will be able to upgrade our Chattel weapons into like a Chattel Plus or something along those lines. And I hope that it's going to be a much easier and a much more accessible way to get a 7-star rarity weapon, because they did say in the NGS headline that it might be in your best interest to hold on to your Evil Eclipse weapons as well as your Chattel weapons as well as all the other 6-star rarity weapons. So this brings me to speculation that, hey, maybe all of the 6-star rarity weapons are going to be upgradable into 7-star rarity weapons, and depending on what weapon you use, the prices may vary. So I'm thinking that the Chattel weapons are probably going to be very cheap in order to turn them into 7-star rarity weapons. However, they're probably still going to retain the potency plus 6% against enemies other than bosses. So it's going to be a great weapon for just mobbing and just PSE bursting and stuff like that. And that is perfect for me because that's pretty much the content that I do most of the time when I'm actually online playing the game. However, for the majority of players out there, your main concern is going to be the attack power. So as we can see here, the main difference between the 6-star and 7-star rarity weapons is of course just the base attack power. You can see that, you know, our weapons are like 470 to 478 attack power, and it suddenly jumps to a whopping 676 versus 671. So this is a very big jump in DPS. And this is the main concern that a lot of people have, or the main drive on why people want a 7-star rarity weapon. So I would not be surprised if the Chattel weapons or the Evil Eclipse weapons do get an upgrade path in order to become 7-star rarities, but maybe it won't be as powerful as the Kaiser series. It might be like 2 or 3 damage lower. Have it at like 669 and 666 or something, some very meme number. I would not be surprised if that actually happens, and that way we're able to actually use our 6-star rarity weapons very inexpensively, upgrade to a 7-star rarity weapon and use that as a placeholder, or use that as just your average weapon because you're not a min-maxer. So in conclusion, I know a lot of you guys are trying to get your newest shiniest gear, and you know, you have a lot of drive to work towards it, and you might be discouraged because you saw the cost of like Blizzardium, it's time gated or it's really difficult to farm. By the way, Blizzardium has a 3% drop rate from the golden boxes, just in case you're wondering. Apparently people found out, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, that's a really low drop rate. So it might discourage a lot of players, and you guys might be feeling despair and being like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get a 7-star rarity weapon. For you guys, I just want to remind everyone, just relax, just chill. You can do everything in the game with a 6-star rarity weapon, but if we do get the opportunity to upgrade our Chattel weapons or even our Evil Eclipse weapons into 7-star rarity weapons, that's a big plus, that's a great win for all of us. And I'm hoping with the introduction of the Dark Falls Rank 2 next week that we will see more craftable or more exchangeable weapons. And if not then we have to wait for the NGS headline, which is actually coming up pretty soon as well. So we can also take a look there, and maybe they've already planned this out. So, you know, I wouldn't want to jump the gun yet and just be like, oh my god, Sega, what the heck are you thinking? As much as I understand and I'm in the same boat, you know, it is a really tall order to get all these materials, like expecting players to farm indefinitely every single day. It is disrespecting the player's time. 100% agree with you guys out there. But, you know, before we jump down Sega's throat and start wrecking them and destroying them, let's wait. Let's wait one more week, see what Dark Falls has to offer. If there's still no good news after that, then it's NGS headline, and if nothing is there, then we can jump the gun and let Sega have a piece of my mind. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.
Can I say except you're welcome for the here